time we see something that we think, okay, this is going to happen, it really is going to make it, there's a step back today. East Carolina in Memphis's league in the American had to postpone their game on September the 12th, a week after our game, because of a COVID outbreak with them. They were going to take on Marshall, and now you have to have so much flexibility that is built in. Have you guys, I know there were 200 tests recently taken by U of M's athletes, zero positivity. In fact, since they came back in June, there have been a total of 1,300 tests, only 17 positives in all of that time. So it's been really good here. What has it been like in Jonesboro for the Red Wolves program?
Well, Dave, when they came back over the summer, a lot of the players, when they reported back and did the player run practices, they did some tests as soon as they got onto campus. There were, I think, 7 positives at the time. Those players were quarantined, and they have had a lot of success with the test up until now. They've been testing, and I know they did some tests here in the last couple of days. And like everybody else in college football, they're trying to stay on it, and it's something they talk about every single day. We actually have a leadership council on our team, and it is comprised of about 10 or 12 players that have been here for a while, and they're doing a great job just kind of holding their teammates accountable. And that's been a big emphasis every single day. And obviously, you got to have leaders like that in your program. It can't just be the coaches. It's got to be some of the other players that are right there, making sure their teammates are doing the right thing and, keeping their masks on as they go to class and, whatever they're doing throughout the course of the day. They don't need to be in large groups. And by all accounts, everything I've heard from our coaching staff and the players that I've been able to talk to about it, they're doing a real good job of that.
Matt, why do you think the Sun Belt, when so many other conferences are shortening down just conference, maybe conference only and conference in one, why do you think the Sun Belt decided to stick with the 8-4?
Well, I think that they really patterned what I think if the SEC didn't play, the Sun Belt was not going to play. And I don't know how many conferences were following the SEC's lead, but just from everything I've gathered, people I've talked to, our athletic director, and just, people around the league, that's kind of what their thought process was leading up to the decision to play as a league. And then, I think like a lot of other leagues, that have decided to play, they've kind of been left on their own. These individual schools have been left on their own to go out and try to cover those non-conference games. And, our Sun Belt schools were able to play up to 4 non-conference games. And, we lost a game against Michigan, and we lost a game that was supposed to be home against Howard. So we had to fill those dates, and we went out and we got a regional opponent in Central Arkansas. They're going to be coming in, and they'll be here for the home opener on the 19th. And then, another date that we had to fill was on September 12th, and that was the date that the Red Wolves were supposed to be home against Howard, and instead now they're going to be traveling to Kansas State. So I think filling those 2 games with programs like Kansas State and UCA, kind of UCA certainly a regional opponent. Kansas State, is about an 8-hour drive from Jonesboro, but it's close enough where you can certainly justify the matchup. Mm. But I think that, they did a good job. Our athletic director, Terry Mahajer, did a very good job of getting that schedule back up to 12 games.
Did there was there anything definitive about how many people you will have in stands for home games? I don't even know if you get any tickets for the game here.
Well, and I don't know. I know our our allotment, if we get any tickets for the game next week, will probably be limited to whoever's on the player pass list,
right.
just based on what I'm hearing. And, I'm sure a lot of road teams, wherever they are this year, are going to kind of be in that same spot. I see a lot of schools that are about 20-25% capacity this year with what they're announcing. I think Arkansas State is probably a little bit more on the aggressive side. In fact, they came out with their plan for home games yesterday. Their revised plan calls for up to 12,000 people in attendance, which it's a 30,000 seat stadium.
Wow.
So you're talking about 40% capacity. So again, a little bit more aggressive than some of the other plans that we've seen.
Your program has been really good under your coach, like Anderson. He has, I think, averaged about 7.5 to 8 wins per year in his tenure. Steve Roberts is the longest tenure at 9. I was looking at your numbers here. 6 years, which has gone by fast. I know he's had a very tough year for him personally with the loss of his wife. But you guys deliver a program that is really a fun one to watch, a lot of offense, and I think in that regard, somewhat similar to the University of Memphis. A lot of points are going to get scored possibly a week from Saturday.
Yeah, it's a really fun offensive team. In our spot as a play-by-play announcer, it's certainly a lot of fun to call games like that. It's fun for the fans, and Blake Anderson is an offensive guy. He was the offensive coordinator before he came to Arkansas State at Southern Miss, and then at North Carolina for a couple of years. But he's somebody that has a great pedigree. He's done a great job just stabilizing this program. When he came in 2014, he was the 5th head coach that Arkansas State had in a 5-year period. We had Steve Roberts, as you said, go for that 9-year stretch. But, after that, we had Hugh Freeze in 2011. Gus Malzahn was the head coach in 2012, then Brian Harsin in 2013. And, of course, all three of those guys have gone on to tremendous success at other places. But,
you also had John Thompson twice was a 1 game interim coach, right? That was crazy.
That's absolutely right. He's got a 2-0 bowl record as a head coach. He took over as the head coach for 2 of those bowl games after Gus Malzahn left for Auburn. JT was the defensive coordinator for that team. He took over as the head coach in the bowl game and won it. And then the following year, same thing. He had been retained as the defensive coordinator on Coach Harsin's staff. And when Coach Harsin went to Boise State, Coach Thompson again was there to take over as the head coach for the bowl game and won it again. So he's certainly got a special place in Arkansas State football history. But it's been a special run, 9 straight winning seasons, 9 straight bowl games, and the last 6 now have been under Blake Anderson.
Matt, one of the newest Red Wolves on your roster is former Houston standout Lincoln Perry. Are we going to get to see him play a lot in the Liberty Bowl in 2 weeks?
Well, I'll tell you that he has looked really good in practices, and our running backs coach is very fired up about him, Desmond Lindsay. In fact, our offensive coordinator, Keith Eckendorf, I was talking with him the other day, and they've kind of nicknamed Lincoln after our running backs coach, and they'll call him Lincoln Lindsay after Coach Lindsay. But he looks really good. Now I know he's a little bit nicked up and has had to sit out a little bit in practice, so I don't know exactly what his status will be. We've got a couple of Memphis natives at running back. Jamal Jones is a 6th-year senior that is going to be in the backfield for Arkansas
Wow,
State.
so he could come back for a 7th year next year, just like our quarterback.
He could. We've got a couple of guys that are in that 7th year territory, possibly coming back next year. But
Crazy.
Jamal's a guy that they got a 6th year, and He figures to be a big part of this offense this year. And you look at some of those Memphis names, and really the prize recruit in this 2020 class was a defensive end named Corbett Mims. And he's a Kirby guy, and he really was looked at by a lot of schools. And he was talked to very early on by our defensive line coach, Brandon Joyner, who was a former Sun Belt Defensive Player of the Year at Arkansas State. And they just formed a great relationship. And you look at some of the offers that Corbett Mims received coming out of high school, you're talking about some big-time programs that were after him. And he ultimately kept his commitment to Arkansas State. And he's a true freshman, but he looks to get some playing time early on.
He is Matt Stoltz. He is the longtime voice of Arkansas State, and I can't wait to see you in the press box a week from Saturday. Thank you for your patience and coming on. I'm sorry we couldn't get you on the full time. It's been a crazy day here with the storm approaching and everything else, but we appreciate you giving us some of your time this afternoon.
I really look forward to seeing you next week, Dave.
You got it. Thank you, Matt.
All right.
Matt
Bye-bye.
Stoltz. He's brought you in part by Homer Skelton Hyundai in Olive Branch. And then there's Genesis of Olive Branch. That's the luxury car made by the Hyundai people in the same building. And the building's getting bigger. And they're bringing more of the Genesis product. The new SUV, you've not seen that yet, but it's supposed to come in September. That is a Genesis SUV. All the 2021s are coming in. My G70, the G80, the G90. How about the Veloster or the Tucson? By the way, the 20s, they were ranked number one in their initial quality for their type of car. Every new Hyundai or Genesis, you get two things now: a limited lifetime powertrain warranty, every new car, and a 3-year, 36,000-mile maintenance package on every new Hyundai and every new Genesis. All you got to do is get on Lamar into Mississippi, turn left at the very first exit, Craft Road, and you will have arrived at Homer Skelton Hyundai.
Before we go to break and get Tim Doolin on, breaking news from Drew Hill. Landers Nolly Jr. Has had his waiver approved for Memphis. He will be eligible this season.
Landers Nolly, and I think he was the more for certain.
Mm-hmm.
DeAndre Williams would be next. The NCAA tournament committee has been more liberal with granting these waivers this year. So the first one is in, one more to go, and this season is getting to look more and more like a promising one for certain. Back in a minute, baseball with Tim Doolin. That is coming your way.
It's R&R on Sports.
The word is out about R&R on Sports, where you've heard interviews from
Ken Griffith Jr., Dr. J, Hank Aaron, and many, many more.
R&R on Sports, Saturday mornings, 10 a.m., Sports 56, 87.7, and 96.1.
Don't miss us.
It is time for the final clearance sale at James Davis Men's Store in the Laurelwood Shopping Center. Listen to this, 70 to 80% off on all spring and summer merchandise. You heard me, James Davis, 70 to 80% off on all spring and summer merchandise. Unreal selection of sports coats and sports shirts for your next Zoom call. Limited selection of shorts and knits, but there are some. If you get there, you'll get 70 to 80% off. Here's some of the brands you can save on during this incredible sale. Peter Millar, Sandstrom, Mac 5 Pocket. I'm talking 70 to 80% off while it lasts. The only place in Memphis that you can find the Stant custom shirt and pants system. Only at James Davis, this exclusive store for this unique custom fitting apparel where shirts start as low as $98, pants at $168. Go see it to believe it. The clearance sale at James Davis.
Fall is just around the corner. So are Labor Day savings now at the Home Depot, where you can save every day on everything, from mulch to power tools, new appliances to a fresh coat of paint. You can even shop and save right from the app and get convenient delivery right to your door. The only question is, what will you do next? Tackle more fall projects with Labor Day savings now at the Home Depot. How doers get more done. U.S. only while supplies last, valid through September 7th.
Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions. Chris Price here for Brian Elder Roofing. The storms we've had over the past several months have been devastating to our communities. The rainy season is ahead. You may have not even noticed the dripping in your attic, water stains throughout your home, or even worse, mold and mildew. Please call Brian Elder Roofing and we will send out our project managers to assess any damage. We will not try to sell you a roof if all you need is a repair. We will measure your roof from outer space. 0% for 60 months, even no payments till 2022 are available with approved credit. If you've noticed missing shingles, water stains, leaks in your roof, call us before you call your insurance company at 867-0303. That's 867-0303, and we will provide a free, thorough inspection of your roof's condition.
Call 867-0303. Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
Do you know one of the best things you can do for your employees or family's health? Provide Arctic Clear bottled water. Arctic Clear bottled water is your locally owned and operated bottled water provider. Arctic Clear is 100% natural spring water with free delivery and setup, dependable service, and no long-term contracts. What an easy choice. Call Jeff Manus today, 901-382-2363, or visit arctic-clear.com. Arctic Clear bottled water. Call now, 382-2363. That's 382-2363.
Welcome back to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Waldo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brett Norsworthy.
Brett off. He'll be back on Monday. This portion of the show brought to you by Dinstall's. The Summer Sizzler this week is my favorite. Becky wrote me that. She goes, I'm doing this for you. It's your favorite. Cashew Crunch, that's that butter, brown sugar, cashews all cooked in a copper kettle, then sprinkled with some fine coconut to make a delicious, crunchy brittle. It's great to eat. Crumble over ice cream, cheesecake, your favorite recipe. Ships well in the heat, never melts. Oh, it's the best. I'm telling you, it's their signature. It's their signature, I think. Go see for yourself, and you get a special price because it's one of the last Summer Sizzler specials of the year. Also, strawberry season ends next Thursday. Some people think that is the signature Dinstall's. It's one of those, too. Get them while you can because they're going quick. Get to any of your Dinstall's, Laurelwood, Pleasant View, Collierville, or Germantown, and soon they will reopen up downtown. Always sweet, if you get my message, to talk with Tim Doolin. And Tim, we've talked pandemic, and we've talked this truncated season that we've got going in Major League Baseball. Now we're talking boycotts. Apparently, the Tampa Bay Rays are playing who tonight? They
are playing the Baltimore Orioles, and this is from Mark Topkin, formerly St. Petersburg Times and Tampa Bay.com, with only 17 minutes left until the Orioles and Rays are set to have first pitch. Nobody is on the field, so game seems to be unlikely at this point.
And 4 other games we know were postponed. Games that did not get played yesterday, like Seattle and San Diego, did get played today. The Cardinals played last night, and they've played today. In fact, they lost to Pittsburgh 4-3 in 8. But, Tim, have you ever seen anything like this?
No, I haven't, and to be honest with you, I have 100% support for what the players are doing in all the respective sports. I mean, enough's enough, and it's just disheartening to watch the stuff that's continued to go on even after protests and everything else. So I'm 100% behind the players. Hopefully the players are going to be able to, make something happen with the owners, with Major League Baseball, and I saw that some of the players are actually going to donate their salaries on one of the days coming up. And so I commend all the players, and I think it's about time.
What do you think in terms of the baseball and their discussions with owners? What do they want to accomplish? What do they want out of the stoppage of play?
I don't know specifically, other than we're talking about it, and it's got to be obviously more than just talk, because we've talked about it every time issues come up, but nothing seems to be getting done. So I think it's got to go from, the players have to be united, all races of players in every sport, as well as the owners. And I think the owners, obviously these owners are, super wealthy guys. A lot of them are billionaires. They've got to they've got to take it and get the attention of the people in the federal government, local government, state government, and things have to be done. I mean, again, we've talked about it for far too long, and it's very scary.
Do you think this will be today? It was last night. Maybe it'll be through the weekend. Do you think this is a long-term thing, or is the point going to be made and maybe there'll be some action taken?
I don't know. I don't know what's going on behind closed doors. I'm not sure what the players of the respective teams. I don't know what the union. I don't know what the owners are saying behind closed doors. Obviously, the players felt the need to do it in all the respective sports, and their expectations are we need to see change. And so if they're not getting a really convincing answer of a game plan on how they're going to start immediately addressing it, I think you could see it happen more. But I'm hoping that it's just a short-term thing. But there again, if it's just a short-term thing, we're like, oh well, we'll just play a couple of doubleheaders to catch it up. It's no big deal, and then it's back to square one where we've always been, and not addressing the real issues.
This just in, we do have another cancellation in Major League Baseball, or postponement. Rockies and Diamondbacks will not play for solidarity with the NBA and other MLB teams today. Tim, have you had a chance to talk with Mookie about all of this? I mean, obviously his speech last night, very, very touching, along with Clayton Kershaw there as when they announced that they were going to stick with the NBA. Have you had a chance to really get all of his views on it?
Well, to be honest with you, I mean, yes, we've talked about it, but I'd really, rather not divulge the conversation.
I understand that.
And that's okay. But yeah, it's definitely, we talked about it when it happened with George Floyd earlier in the year. So I think what people need, people don't realize how difficult it is. And you can say, oh, well, LeBron James is making all this money. He's never been, he's never suffered or whatever. No one knows that, and no one knows how these guys have had to live. These, minority people have had to live over the last 100 years. So I'm glad that I was raised in a culture where I never judged a person by the color of their skin, and some of my best friends are of all different ethnic backgrounds, and so unfortunately, that's not the case in the world we live in today.
To the games, if we could,
sure,
and they will come back. One exciting thing over this past week has been the no-hitter by the Chicago White Sox, and I didn't realize this until I was reading about it today. But Tim, you still with us?
I'm with you.
Okay. We've had a lot of technical difficulties today, so we had to double check.
Now I'm getting jumpy. Lucas Giolito, who is the pitcher that threw the no-hitter for the White Sox.
Right.
Who, by the way, the Washington Nationals gave up on him, and he rightfully so. It was terrible.
Sure.
I did not.
It was bad. I mean, last year was a solid year, but the years prior to that were just terrible.
Did you
and
know?
They had high expectations, big time bonus, baby, in the organization, and he was lights out the other night. And I don't know if you watched the highlights, but the last play of the game was a unbelievable play by the right fielder.
I did. It was a line drive sinking, and he made a great play. Did you know that his mother and father were both in the movie business? His mother was a star.
Oh, I did not know that.
Lindsay Frost. I Googled it this morning just to see. Yeah, she was in the world as the world turns, and Hill Street Blues, and Crossing Jordan, and Who's the Boss. I mean, she was in a lot of stuff. Good looking lady in her, still good looking, but in her day. And the White Sox have a lot of really good young players, from the shortstop to the center fielder to.
They've got a really good young second baseman that's been hurt a little bit, but he's a rookie, and they're really high on him.
Yeah, they've got a
lot of good young players.
And then you got Jose Abreu and a couple of other veterans that are really this.
Why
are
are we talking about the White Sox in your hometown, and right across the city there is the first place Cubs?
True. And they have.
We're getting there.
I think they have the same record, my Cubs and the Chicago White Sox. And maybe I'm sort of meandering to the possibility of an all-Chicago World Series.
That's not going to happen. Come on.
What?
How about the Padres?
Padres are really good.
Been killing it.
Oh, gosh.
So are the
They
Dodgers.
Really good. So are the Dodgers. Well, the Dodgers we knew were going to be, and we expected them to be. We didn't think the Padres were quite ready to be playing like they are. Tatis is playing out of his mind. Machado's gotten hot over the last 2 weeks. He's kind of getting into his mode of not realizing he's now realizing he doesn't have to carry the team. Tatis is doing a great job. They got some really good players as well.
Are San Diego? I had them making the playoffs, especially once it was expanded. But would you say they're the biggest surprise? I mean, Tampa up by 2.5 games on the Yankees. That might be a bit of a surprise. I think everybody knew the Twins were really going to be good.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. We all knew the Cubs were going to be good and leading that division.
Sure, we did.
And we all knew the Dodgers were going to be good. I guess San Diego is probably the biggest surprise.
I'd have to say San Diego. I mean, you could say Tampa, but Dan, we've been saying Tampa for the last 3 or 4 years.
I know.
And every time we look up, they're not going to one of the lowest payrolls in baseball. You know.
Yeah, they really are. Back to the no-hitter by the White Sox. Do you think there will be another no-hitter in this short season where we've seen a lot of pitchers get off to really, really slow starts? And I was actually surprised we even got one.
No, I think